Alright, this video is for exam 1, page 8, section 5, and we will be starting right now. So, the question is, sketch the graph of the function y equals f of x with the properties a through f. So we're getting all of these, and we have to graph the function. So we are given with A, B, C, D, E, F. So we're gonna first do these ones, which give us the point at f of x. I personally think those ones are the easiest to start with because some of these properties are not given through order. Like D is limit x approaching to 1, but then E is limit x approaching -1. So that's where we're gonna start. Alright, so f of -4 equals 1. So -4 at -4 x equals 1. Let's see. At f of 3 x equals y equals 0. At -1 x equals 3. And at 0 at f equals -1. Alright, that seems to be all of our defined points. Now we could do this part, the A part. Limit of x approaching -infinity of f of x equals 0, and the limit of x approaching infinity of f of x equals -infinity. So what the first part of A means that as the graph goes to the negative side over here to x, it's gonna go infinitely. It's gonna approach the value of 0. Now, I'm not gonna draw the graph yet because we don't know if it's gonna approach it from the top or the bottom. The next part is a bit easier to draw. It says that as x goes to the infinitely positively, the y value is going to go infinitely negative. So we won't draw our graph yet because we're not at that point yet, but we'll keep that in mind. So the next part is limit of x approaching -4 from the left of f of x equals 4. So that means that from the left side, at -4, our value is going to be equal to positive 4, and in this part, limit of x approaching -4 from the right side of f of x equals 1. So in this case, our graph will continue onward from the right 1, but from the left side, because these two are not equal, and because our -4 is defined at 1, limit of x approaching -4 from the left is going to be an open circle because the actual because at -4 it's 1. So because of that, we now know that in A, our infinite is going to be approaching from the top. So we're going to show just that from like this. Now for the next step, limit of, well actually we'll do this part first because that one is soon. Limit of x approaching -1 of x equals 0. So at -1 at -1 it's going to be equal 0, and that's for both sides. And as we can see right here, there is our point at f of -1 is 3, so we are gonna have an open circle at this point because at f of -1 it's gonna be a 3 instead of following the graph. And oops, accidentally wrote this as +1 when it's -1 for this case. I apologize. So then, as let's the next step. So D is that at x approaching 1, f of x equals -infinity. So because of that, we're gonna have our graph past the point -1 because we're gonna assume that it does as the graph says, because that's where our point is at f of 0. And so at 1, we're gonna be our y value is gonna be approaching negative infinity. So let me redraw that just so it looks a bit nice. And we're gonna have a vertical, a horizontal asymptote at x equals 1 because of this what seems to be a infinite discontinuity. And so we have a vertical asymptote right here because of this value of x approaching 1 when it goes to negative infinity. So then the next part of our question is that as x approaches 3, it's going to be approaching. It's going to be approaching 0, and at f of 3 it is also 0. So our point is going to be coming from the infinite asymptote from 3, from from the bottom, because we know it's coming from the bottom and not from the top, uh, because so we know that this is approaching from the bottom also because C says that the limit of x is approaching 3 from both. That the limit of x approaching to 1 from both sides is approaching negative infinity. So that's why we know that this part is the left and the right side are both going to infinity. And because of that, now we know our final part, which is that f of x equal the limit approaching infinity of f of x equals negative infinity. So now we can plug in our last value and show that x is going to infinity. And now we have our graph for section 5. Right? I'm also going to be labeling my points just so it's more clear to see. This for negative 4, 4. This right here is negative 1, comma 3. This right here is negative 1, comma 0. This right here is 0, comma negative 1. This right here is 3, comma 0. And I will also be labeling these asymptotes. So x equals 1, and right here y equals 0. And that is all for this question. All right. I will see you next time.